Yo, it's that time of week again. Keep your hands and feet inside the tour bus at all times while we bring you to Soundtown. I'll be your co-tour guide, Russ, and here is my other co-tour guide. Introduce yourself.
I'm Eric.
He's Eric, and we're so excited to bring you down this trip down. I said it before, I'll say it again. A Soundtown. Eric, today's guests are probably the most important guests we would ever have on the podcast. And I'm not just blowing smoke up their butts. Who do we have on, Eric?
Our bosses.
Our bosses. The founders of Best Available Player. Best Available Player, for those who don't know, is the podcast network that, distributes our podcast onto Spotify, Apple Music. They house us. They pay for the RSS feeds. They pay for the website. We love them so much. We're so grateful for that. The founders of that entity, Ryan Wallace and Matt DeLuca, took the time to join us on our podcast, and we talked to them about what inspired them to start Best Available Player up. They pitched you, our audience, all the other cool podcasts and blogs and everything else that Best Available Player does. I loved it. What did you think, Eric?
It was awesome, and that was one hell of an intro, Russ, I gotta say. One hell of an intro for one hell of an interview.
Yeah, I had to bring out the big guns for the big boys. You know it. So they're gonna listen to it, so hopefully they like it. And if they don't, I guess we're fired. So.
And this is the last episode of Soundtown.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. It's been great so far. It's been fun while it lasted. And so here's the last Soundtown interview ever with Matt DeLuca and Ryan Wallace, Best Available Player. Here you go.
Unless it goes well.
Okay, so then maybe we'll let you decide, the listener. That's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Do a Twitter poll. Should we be fired?
Thank you guys so much for agreeing to do this, and I'll give you one final out since it is draft night number 2.
Ryan already got his Christmas wish last night, I think. So I think Ryan's good now.
I'm all good, yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you guys again for taking the time. We're excited to chat with you. I wanted to kind of organize this sit down for a long while, but to be able to do it over a pod session is exciting. Now, is this a Soundtown episode or a Best Available Player episode?
I was thinking we were just going to rip the audio and the video from you guys, and we're just going to upload it as our own episode, if that was okay.
Oh, so it's like a mooch kind of deal.
Yeah, I was just going to not do any of the work, but then just take the credit for putting it together.
What have you done for us lately?
That sounds like something a real boss would do. And I don't mean like a cool guy. I mean like a literal, like, you're my boss, I am your employee kind of deal. Like, that is something a boss would do. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm trying to get better at, like, that kind of boss, like, employee dynamic. So It is something that I'm going to explore deeply.
Yeah,
I see you as less of a boss and more of an owner.
That's a good point, yeah.
That's how I see this thing.
Oh, no, I didn't mean that in a negative way at all.
Oh, I didn't either.
And, I mean, throwing it all out there, no one is getting compensated, which was agreed on beforehand.
Listen, we didn't give any hard dates. The compensation that's like a future thing, you know.
Yeah, this is the future, but
it's coming.
If you Ryan or you Matt requested something out of us, consider it done, because you have already done so much for us, giving us this podcast, this platform, and you've done the same for a bunch of our friends. So we're super grateful, and thank you guys for that and for being here.
Well, thank you for having us. We both listen to this every week that it goes up, so it's exciting cool. to be a part of this one.
Thank you. Well, I listen to your podcast because I need my sports fix, and there's so many sports going on at once sometimes, and there's so much that it feels like you need to keep track of now, just because we know so much about players, whether it's just through the statistics on how they perform throughout the season, but also, like, there's that dynamic of knowing about their personal lives all of a sudden because everyone's so connected through social media. So there's like a million things that people feel like they need to know as a sports fan. And I always found that, your podcast, Best Available Podcast, gives me that fix that I need. Just those really important headlines every week of what I need to keep track of. Because I'll admit I'm a big football guy. I know everything about football, but I want to stay in tune with what's going on in like baseball and basketball. And if I'm putting all my time into football, I can't pay attention to what's going on in those other ones. So you guys do that for me. You obviously do it for your other listeners. Could you, I mean, I kind of already explained what your podcast is about, but would you, in your own words, kind of want to describe what you guys do on a weekly basis there?
Well, do you have any more compliments? Like, that was actually pretty cool. Just like the stream of compliments that was coming.
We should just end it there. I mean, at this point, I think for our podcast, it's like a continuation of our radio show almost. I mean, Ryan and I did we woke up at 6:45 in the morning every day for, what, Ryan, like a year and a half, I guess?
Yeah.
And then we switched, we finally got the hint to switch to afternoons once we started falling asleep at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we kind of just decided to continue it. Like, we missed it, that little year and a half kind of gap after graduation. We kind of missed doing it. Been talking sports since first grade. So, every week we just try and really just hash it out on the air. I mean, it's just what we've been doing since like the lunch tables at school. So it's just us talking sports, trying to get some other sports in also that don't always get the coverage. I mean, we talk about Ryan's favorite NASCAR. We'll slip in some golf, slip in, a bunch of other sports too. So it's kind of a little bit of everything, which has been really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably worth noting I met you guys in college. We went to college together. You guys are a little younger than me, so maybe if someone's listening now, like, why should I trust these guys about sports takes? I'm telling you, if there's anyone to go to with sports takes, it's Matt DeLuca and Ryan Waldis. And again, I'm not just saying that because you guys are here. This is like your religion almost. Sports as a whole. Not to put words in your guys' mouth, but like you said, Matt, it's what you've been talking about since the lunch tables, and it's so true because you guys do your research. When someone asks you your opinion, you give the opinion, but opinion's not worth anything unless you can back it up. You guys always have solid reasoning behind your thinking. There's always, some sort of path. It all just makes sense. So that's why I trust you guys with my weekly sports fix. But back to college, when we talk to people on the podcast, it's usually old friends of ours. We like to kind of reminisce about the first meeting. I think, Matt, I would have met you before I met Ryan, right?
Yeah. I think the first time I met you, you were wearing a Tennessee Titans jersey, which stuck out. Like, I'm like, ooh, cool. Like, I haven't seen a Titans jersey, like, ever in person. So it was, like, really cool. Got to meet you through Hawk TV, which was really cool. Because I think that was your first year on eBoard, I want to say, was when we met. I think my sophomore year was when we met. And then kind of bloomed into a really cool kind of sports talk, friendship and stuff. And yeah.
Yeah, I think Matt was very quiet when I first met him. And once we kind of got him to come out of his shell, it was almost, you remember in The Office when Kevin had the chili and then he just spilled the chili and he couldn't stop it from coming out? That's kind of what happened with Matt and his show. It was actually, it became to the point where we couldn't get him to shut up.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan still can't get me to shut up to this day, so he probably regrets me coming out of my shell in college. Because I mean, that year, sophomore year, when like we met and like when I kind of integrated myself into Hawk TV more with all the people and all of our friends, that's kind of where it all started for me. I mean, freshman year was just kind of like, like a shock, I guess, like just.
What do you mean, like a culture change?
Yeah, I mean, being away from home and just being thrown into everything and being able to do stuff right away. So I was kind of just like, oh, this is nice. But then, like, sophomore year was when, like, friendship started and, like, you really kind of, like, felt comfortable, I guess.
For sure. No, I think that's a great take. And, yeah, I'm thankful that we met and that we developed a friendship and that we're still able to talk and stuff. And then Ryan, you came in a little later in the picture. And I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the exact instance that we would have met.
It was in the WMCX lobby.
He remembers it perfectly.
I don't. That's. And Matt had introduced us. He didn't tell me that you were the station manager, but I treated you with respect because you never know who you're going to talk to. And then when I found out you were the station manager, it's like, oh wow, like that's a pretty important guy that I just met. But yeah, I think that it was the same thing that Matt described for me. It was kind of a shock. I mean, I was only going to be there at Monmouth for 2 years. I came in after community college, so I kind of knew I had to break out of my shell a little quicker than I would have wanted to. But I mean, everyone down at Hawk TV, everyone up at the X, they made it a lot easier. So developing those friendships really early on, that made a lasting impact on me. Definitely, it made me really happy that I chose Monmouth.
Awesome, yeah. We for those who aren't familiar, we went to Monmouth University. Matt and Ryan both mentioned Hawk TV. That was our student-run television station, which I was the station manager for a year. And they also talk about the X, which is our student-run radio station. And yeah, we as students there had the opportunity, as soon as, freshman year, to dabble in whether it's television production or radio production. And you had the opportunity to meet kids who like all the same things that you like. When it comes to, I was more of a TV guy than a radio guy. And while I took TV classes in high school, some people were there because, I heard it's an easy A or it's just a class. Everyone who's studying, or not everyone, but almost everyone who's studying what I'm studying in school really cares about it. So I'm sure that was different for you guys. And they, like you said, you started your radio show, which was really cool for you guys. How does that blossom into Best Available Player? What made you guys want to start this? What do we call it? A network? What do you even call it?
I think we referred to it as a brand initially. Now it's just whatever people want to call it. We're okay with. I tell people, that's even better. I like that a lot. Yeah. Matt, we got to start using that one more.
The Bat family sounds a lot better than the Bat brand.
Yeah.
So I could get behind that for sure.
I think that I tell people, if it sounds bad, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I don't think any of this would have started. I think it was just that kind of perfect storm of Matt and I had a lot of free time. We kind of wanted to try to spend it productively, not just sitting around doing nothing. So we were just going to start a podcast. Matt had said, well, what about we write some articles to go along with it? And then it turned into, well, maybe some of our friends are feeling the same way that we are. We'll see maybe if they would be interested in doing some stuff. And it just kept going up and up from there. So it's kind of neat to see how it grew from just the start. I guess we started talking about this almost a year ago to the day, late April, early May. So it's neat to see where it's gone since then. We're excited to see if it can continue to grow in the months and hopefully the years to come.
I remember when I got the call that you were working on it, and it made me excited. It also made me proud, because I know you guys to be not only good at what you do, but you're only good at what you do because you both work so hard at it. And to hear, you don't want to be sitting around and. I didn't know what your guys' like an employment situation was at that time, but I maybe it was kind of slow. So you guys said, why do I have to wait around? I can just get going on my own and start building a background for myself, building almost a a portfolio. And hey, I've got a lot of talented friends that I met from school because we all like the same stuff. Let's bring them along and see if they'd be interested. And, I laughed when Eric said family, but I feel like that is because I think we're all striving for a common goal of making Best Available Player the best that it can be. So when you came to the idea of bringing a bunch of friends in, did you have like, okay, I want this person to do a podcast, I want this person to write, or did you kind of give everybody free reign, like we want you to be involved at whatever capacity you're comfortable in?
Yeah, it was definitely kind of whatever people were down for. Like we said, you could do a podcast, you could write, you could do both. Like we have some people who are really in and have done like both, and then we have like some people who will do it just once in a while. Like as you mentioned, people like sometimes do this to build a portfolio, and then we have like some people who are here for like just the vibes and stuff. So it's like a nice little blend of like everything, which I think has really turned out nicely. And it also really worked out when we proposed this to everybody that we got an even number of podcasts, which I think Ryan and I, for the first initial draft of our website, it worked out great to format everything. But yeah, so everyone kind of was able to pick and choose, and that's the format we still go with. You could pick what you want to write about, talk about. You know, we're all pretty easygoing with that.
Cool. And I don't know if listeners really understand all of it, and I try to remind myself, it costs money to keep a website up and running, which you guys have the Best Available Player website up and running. It also costs money to have an RSS feed, which is what you need for a podcast to go on places like Spotify and Apple Music. And you guys take care of that for us, and we're super grateful, again, for the platform, but also just for the opportunity. And that's why we are trying to do the best that we can for you guys. As it stands now, or no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. Would you mind giving our listeners kind of a rundown of the different podcasts that are on the network so that maybe if they're interested, they could check it out for themselves?
Absolutely. So, of course, every one of your listeners knows about Soundtown. We have Jabberjays, which is hosted by Jill Young and Justin Garcia. That's kind of our pop culture podcast. They talk about movies, music, TV, anime, award shows, just anything in that pop culture realm. They get you up to date on it. They discuss it. They debate it. We have a podcast called Forward Progress, which we love as well. That's hosted by Caroline Mattice and Sophia Lewin. And they kind of try to focus on all the sports stories that aren't talked about in the mainstream. And they've had on a lot of really cool guests. They had on the founder of Outsports, Sid Ziegler, which was really cool. They had on the Princeton head football coach. They've had on, I think, the VP of something at the National Football League, which is really neat. They've had on a lot of really cool guests. They've definitely taught me a lot. I'm sure Matt as well, just about stories that we really didn't know a lot about. And then, of course, Best Available Podcast, me and Matt talking sports. You went into that earlier. Entry-level experience with Noah Purcell and Zach Cosenza is just kind of a potpourri of whatever they feel like talking about, whether it's employment, dating, just real-life stuff that they just talk about. And the Halper Bros, which is kind of on a hiatus right now because one of the Halper Bros is moving to a different state. That was just two brothers kind of doing the same thing we were, but they kind of had the brother-brother connection, which I thought was pretty unique. They were also just talking sports, and, you know, it's really cool just to see how proud everyone was of the work that they did in terms of the podcast. Like, we'd get them, as I said, me and Matt would always listen to them. It's cool to see people just get behind it. It's something that, as you guys joked about at the start, like, you know, we're not getting paid for this, but it's cool to see people still take pride in what they're doing with the podcast, pushing it to their friends, their family, and getting listeners to listen every week. It's really cool to see.
Any comment on that, Matt?
Yeah, I personally love just the variety that we were able to get because, again, we posed a blank slate to where, like, we could have gotten, like, 6 identical things. But, like, it's kind of like a nice rotation to where, like, and I'm sure, I don't know how you guys listen to your podcast, but for me, whenever I have, like, a drive to work or to go in, like, the car for a long period of time, I like to throw one on and to have this variety, too, and I'm sure Ryan would say the same thing. We were definitely very surprised, but, like, a very happy surprise that we were able to get so much different kind of passions and, like, stories. So everything has its own kind of unique feel to it, which I think we were both really, really happy about last August when we started it up.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree on the variety aspect. There's a lot of cool stuff on there from a lot of different unique perspectives. I'm not going to ask, like, the 5-year plan for Best Available Player, but how do you see expanding, like adding more shows or more writers in the near future? When I say near future, I mean like the coming months. Are you happy where Best Available Player is right now at this exact moment?
So in terms of adding people, and then I'm sure Ryan will go into the whole fight. I'm always on the recruiting trail. So if anyone's watching or listening to this, I am like, the recruiter on this coaching staff. I'm ready to go. Like, I'm always throwing people's names at Ryan's way. I'm like, well, how about this person? What if they do this? Always trying to pick stuff up. So if anyone's watching or listening, our email is probably somewhere on the website. Shoot us an email. I'm always on the recruiting trail. And then I saw Ryan just about to go into the 5-year plan, which we've been asked about before. So this is something we've had to answer before.
No, I think Matt hit it on the head. We're obviously happy and content with where we've come to this point. It wasn't something that we expected. And just going back to the podcast, we didn't expect a lot of people to say yes to this when we asked them. So we were, it's been a nice surprise from that aspect. But we're always looking for new additions to what we're doing. If people have something that they want to create, they want to put out there, they want to get in front of some eyes or some ears, we're always all for it. Me and Matt talk a lot about how we can improve what we've done so far and how we can continue to make it bigger. We toss around ideas pretty regularly about how to expand the scope of best available player. So it's kind of cliche, but we can only go up, and hopefully over the next few months to hopefully years, we're able to kind of get all this stuff we're doing in front of more people and make best available player more popular than it is right now.
Cool. I mean, from what Matt was saying, it almost sounds like you're not going to stop until like 50% of the country has a podcast on your website, whether people are listening or not.
That's I mean, listen, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I'm always willing to add more people, but I think more than anything else, I just want to continue to provide something for all of us, just to continue to create stuff. Like we did it for 3 to 4 years in college, but like more importantly, like even though we all went our separate ways, it's nice to just convene with this. Like once we get more people, like more back into like the normal life, Ryan and I are already planning some in-person stuff, some cool videos we would make with everybody, bringing everyone back together that way. So as Ryan said, we can only continue to grow from here.
Nice. And if I were to describe myself, if I had to find one word, I might say creative. And this is such a great outlet for me. And I'll help you recruit a little bit here, Matt. But, when Ryan said he was surprised that so many people agreed to do it, Eric and I were excited to do the podcast, but once I agreed to it, I got nervous of, this probably means like every week I got to come out with something. I don't know if I can, stack up to that prerequisite. And that was never the case. You guys let us do 10-episode seasons. Heck, we missed a week, I think, and like I didn't hear from anybody. You're totally lax on that. I ask questions about what I'm allowed to do, what I'm not allowed to do, and it's like I've had complete creative control. Eric and I have had complete creative control over everything. No one's looking over our shoulder, like digging into our backs of like, you got to push this, you got to do that, you got to do this. So that's also made this experience even more fun and liberating. So thank you guys for that.
I think that was a big thing for us. We realized that people had lives outside of doing this. I mean, maybe if we were paying people, it'd be easier to kind of say, listen, we're kind of expecting this, but, we're not paying people. So it's kind of, we're fine with people doing it on their own schedule. As Matt said, if you want to write once a week, you can do that. If you just want to write whenever you feel like it, that's cool too. Like, we just welcome the content whenever it comes. And, we know that we have a lot of creative minds, as you were referring to, like on our team and our family. So we kind of trust everyone's creative instincts. If there's something that they think they really want to do, that would be cool. I don't think we've said no to anything yet. So if there is something that we would say no to, I'm not too sure what it is.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, Brian. I mean, we literally, I don't think, have said no to one idea proposal yet. So it's been really cool to just see everything kind of come in. And as Ryan said, like we kind of have it in like waves too. Like we had a guy, Kevin Emmons, who did high school sports, and he would do like 2 to 3 articles a week during the heat of high school basketball. And then we kind of switched over a little bit. and then I did a couple college hoops articles, and now we have Noah Purcell, another Monmouth guy who has done so much UFC stuff. So kind of is like almost like seasonal too, to where like we have kind of what's in the moment, but also to where it's like a good blend to where it's not like overkill on one thing. So it's been actually really natural in terms of the way things have been going up too.
Good. And we talk about expanding BAP. There's some exciting stuff going on over at the Best Available Player YouTube channel. And I'm not just talking about the stuff that I'm uploading, because I kind of stopped recently. But do you guys want to talk about what's going on over there?
Yeah, Matt, why don't you go ahead and talk about what's going on over there at the YouTube channel?
We got a big YouTube. We got another. I want to shout out the YouTuber Ryan Wald this year, because I can't take credit for the big influx in views and subscribes. Because Ryan, big out of the park baseball guy. Very humble of you to deflect that over to me, Ryan, but I'm going to deflect it back to you and make you talk about it.
And Ryan, before you talk about it, for listeners who might not know what that even is, could you give them some background?
I can certainly try my best. So we've recently gotten a big influx of subscribers. We're now close to 500 on the channel because I guess partially because I play out of the park baseball and make videos about it. It's basically just a text-based 2D, 3D-ish baseball simulation. It's not like MLB The Show, which people might be familiar with. It's kind of more just text-based than that, so it's not really for everybody, but there's a very, very small but devoted group of people that love that kind of content on YouTube. And I realized that, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago, so I figured I might as well try to corner the market a little bit in that regard and just try to take as many of those people as I could. And I guess it kind of worked, because people have stuck with me for that same amount of time. They always look for my series every year, which is humbling that people recognize me after that long. But I was more happy about it from the standpoint of the BAP family, because it brought in all the subscribers. So the hope was that maybe they would start checking out the other things that we were doing. I think we've seen that kind of happen gradually, which was really nice.
Yeah, and I've talked about the kind of stuff on this podcast of what I do on the YouTube channel. I do something similar to Ryan. I play Madden NFL, and I do like a franchise mode. And that was getting like modest hits. I didn't know how to build viewership up, and I don't know Reddit, but I remember once we put out a music video and someone put it on Reddit and it got a lot of views. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go to like all of the subreddits for all of the football teams and put these videos, and I've been banned on almost like every NFL team subreddit.
Yeah.
But honestly, Ryan, I'm telling the truth. I only started doing that so I can get the gears going in your head of maybe I should be doing what I used to do with with baseball franchise. And I got so excited when you started doing it, dude, because I knew it would bring in the viewers.
Yeah, it's I'm going to say the word humbling again. I mean, I think the first video of that series, we're up to 18 episodes, I think. I always forget the number. I want to say close to 5,000 hits, and it'll only keep going up, especially when the game goes on sale. You get a new wave of people, so it's kind of cyclical for the entire duration of the game. But congratulations on you, the long ploy to get me to upload videos again. Congratulations. It worked.
Well, and I mean, I don't know who anyone else in the BAP family. I'm nervous to call it the family because me and my partner, we just watched all the Godfathers, so I'm nervous to refer to this as strictly just the family. I don't know if anyone else is looking to add more content to the YouTube. Any word on that, or is it kind of sticking to what we're doing right now?
We'd always welcome more video content. That was a thing coming into 2021. Me and Matt had a big meeting at some point in early January about, okay, what are realistic things that we can accomplish over the next 12 months? And one of those things was creating more video content. So we always kind of welcome people, like, listen, if you have any cool video ideas, if you want to try anything out, we'll upload it for you and we'll see how it does. So we're always excited, to add video type of content, whatever it is, whether it's video games, whether it's some type of talk show, whatever it is, like we're excited to put it on there.
Yeah, and obviously we have some podcasts that do video too. Like I know you guys have video stuff, we have video stuff, and then Jabberjays recently started up doing video stuff too. And the one cool thing, like we mentioned earlier, once stuff starts to open up and we could start hanging out in person a lot more comfortably, we'll probably start to see that kind of grow with the ideas as well, because sometimes you'll just be hanging out and the idea will just come into your head, right? I mean, that's how some of the videos back when we were in Hawk TV kind of happened, right? Just organically, when everyone was kind of in the room together. So that was one of the goals of the big important board meeting that Ryan referenced. So yeah, it definitely is going to be a big priority for us for the remaining however many months of the year. 7, I guess, already. I'm not very good at mental math here, but we'll go with 7.
Hey, Eric, we haven't really talked about this yet. Are you fully vaxxed yet, Eric?
Not yet. I'm half vax.
You're half? I just got my second one the other day, and it makes
Congrats.
me. But dude,
how you feeling?
I'm fine.
You get the M or the
fine.
P?
I'm on the P.
Oh, I got the M.
Yeah, you felt okay after it?
Yeah, just felt like I got a shot.
Yeah, we're men. No, but
yeah, no biggie.
You want to get back in this? You want
to
get back in
this? Didn't even get a sticker after, but I didn't even complain.
Wow.
I didn't get one either. I was upset about that.
I got a sticker, but I think it fell out of my wallet as I was getting in or out of the car. So I goofed on the opportunity to flex with the sticker.
That's a rare sticker that you've let go.
And maybe it's somewhere in my car. Like maybe you know how stuff gets like underneath the seat. Like I'm sure it's down there somewhere. Maybe, hopefully, because if you don't take a picture of it and put it on Instagram, you didn't get it. It's like the same thing with like going to the movies, going to a baseball game, eating a sandwich. Like if we don't post about it, we're not vaccinated. So I got to find that thing somewhere.
Can we? You're talking about posting social media. Can we plug wherever Best Available Player is? Is it on Instagram? Is it on Twitter? Where can people find it?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, website. We might create a TikTok. It seems like that is the new means. That's what all the kids are on these days. So that might be something we have to look into. But yeah, everywhere. If you just search Best Available Player, you'll find us.
BAP,
yeah.
So we all work in media, and I don't know anything about TikTok, but I'm thinking I need to download it, not so I could go through these videos, but to figure out just how it works in case someone that I work with comes to me and says, we need TikTok stuff, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess I downloaded it a while back just because there was like that news that like you wouldn't be able to download it apparently after a certain time. So I'm like, I might as well have it just so I could experience it just in case it ever goes away. And I still don't fully understand the point of it, because the way you just get, like, a lot of people will just slap a bunch of hashtags in there of what's trending for other videos. So the video could be completely unrelated to, like, the hashtag, and they'll just slap, like, 5 of them on there. And that's how the new trends on TikTok, I guess, go. I don't really know. I feel, like, very old trying to talk about it. Some of them, like, are, like, sports ones that are funny that I'll understand, but, like, the majority of it is just very not, I have no idea what's going on.
What's your take on it, Ryan?
I don't know if I'm too old to comprehend what's going on. I mean, I was like a Vine guy, like that was something that I understood. It was easy to digest. Like TikTok, I still don't fully get what's going on over there. I don't get why it's so popular. I respect it, but I think I got to do the same thing as you said. I just have to download it and try to learn it. I mean, even from just a job perspective, when I look for jobs, like that's becoming a requirement now. Like when you look at like being able to know what works on Instagram, TikTok, like all that stuff. So from that perspective, I guess it would make sense to kind of learn how to really use it. But
well, you know what's so scary? Like you can apply for a job that says you need to know Photoshop, and you can get the job and not know Photoshop. It's easy enough to look up tutorials, figure out how to do it. There are plenty of company social medias teams who just like, yes, they know how to tweet, but they don't know how to like engage with followers, right? So that's the whole part of it. You got to understand like the TikTok language almost. Like, yeah, this video is funny, but like, why is it funny? And what are they doing that's connecting to, you know, whoever's watching it, rather than just, oh, hi, I work for Walmart. This is Walmart. Come check it out. No, you gotta like make something like almost meme worthy, or I don't even know how to say it, because yeah, like you said, I think I'm getting a little too old. But that's what's scary about, you know, learning these new social medias, is it's not just knowing how to post a picture to Instagram. It's like posting the right picture to Instagram with the right caption, or no, this isn't a post, it's a story, or no, this is a live. It's just, oh my God, it's a mess.
Well, it's crazy. Like, people go to college for that now just to learn how to manage social media accounts, like, to the best of their ability. As you said, it's not, you don't just tweet something and then that's it. That's your job for the day. Like, there's a lot of different things you have to know to make that account grow.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely one thing we're still learning, managing all of the BAP accounts, is like, you know, Ryan's much more active on like Twitter and really all social media than I am. I'll just go through and do a quick scroll, see what everyone's up to, and then I'll kind of go off. So that's, I guess, something that I never really knew that coming out of school that was going to be such a big important factor of like our job applications, like you guys mentioned. Like it's on almost every single one that Ryan and I see in terms of sports stuff that we look for. And yeah, it's definitely something that we've been kind of learning on the fly. But again, I will say Ryan is more active on everything than I am. So we will call him the influencer of the two on social media.
We'll talk about this out loud now. After we hang up here, I'm definitely going to download TikTok. Are you on the TikTok wave, Eric?
Absolutely not.
No?
TikTok was the first thing. I'm only 23, but TikTok was the first thing that like made me not understand what these kids were up to. Like, up to this point, I felt like pretty grounded with like the youth and all that. And this TikTok came around, and I was just, it was weird and scary, and it made me feel old. And I'm still a little traumatized by it, I think.
Well, I think a lot of it that I still don't understand is the whole dancing aspect of it. Like, in terms of, like, the other things, like, when some people try to replicate Vine, I appreciate those, but you really got to dig to find them on this app, which is depressing. But the traumatizing aspect of it is just, you know, going on and just trying to understand why a 10-second dance got 15 million views or whatever. Yeah, it's, I don't know. I think we're all kind of too old and out of it right now to figure it out. I mean, I worked at a summer camp, and I had like a 6-year-old explain it to me and make me feel so stupid for not knowing the kind of inner workings of this app. So that's where we're at as a society. A 6-year-old just lambasting me for not understanding TikTok.
You know, maybe that's why people start having kids, so that their kids who are in the know can like educate. That's crazy. No, that's not why they do it, Eric.
No. Are your parents in the know? My parents aren't in the know.
Well, because the way this household works, my dad will be like, "Can you explain this?" And I'll be like, "No, get out of my room, God." No, we have a healthy relationship.
I gotta ask, I don't know if I'm the only one. If you walk by like a group of teenagers just like out in the open, do you get like a little uneasy as you're walking by them? Okay, all right, so it's not just me. All right.
Yeah.
What is it though? Is it just like the group? Is it the way that they're dressed? What is it?
It's just kids in general.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's very intimidating. Very intimidating. Because then, like, I start to feel self-conscious about, like, just myself for whatever reason. And, like, I felt like confidence was supposed to grow, but I feel like after I graduated college and now I'm just kind of walking around, it's, yeah, I don't know. Traumatizing is the theme of this segment. We'll just, if we throw it on YouTube, just trauma in modern society, TikTok. That's.
Well, let's blow past the trauma here. If you guys are up for it, would you like to play a game of this or that with us?
I would love to.
Sure.
Eric, do you have any in your noggin there? Or you want me to go off my handy dandy list, of which I added a few as we were waiting for our guests to join?
Oh yeah, I want to hear some new ones.
Some new ones?
Yeah.
Okay, this is one that I made, and I'm a little nervous about it. But I'll just say it: Hogwarts or Sky High.
Ooh, that's tough.
Tell me, you two look me dead in the camera lens and tell me you don't know what Sky High is.
I do not.
I gotta admit that too. I don't know what that is.
But Ryan has also not watched Harry Potter though, so he is like completely out.
All right, wait, slow down. I watched the first 4 movies, and that's where I stopped.
I apologize. I didn't know that.
Okay. Sky High was 2005 film, standalone movie. Kurt Russell. Yep, Kurt Russell's in it. You gotta watch it, but basically,
is it on Disney Plus? Was it a Disney movie? I can't remember.
It was a Disney movie. I'll say this. I'll share this anecdote. The movie came out, and I was visiting my cousins, and we went to the movies. Okay, my cousins are a little old. I think they might have been either in high school or in college at that point, and it was a big group of us, and my brother wanted to go see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for the 8th time, so I said I'm not doing that. My dad and my cousins wanted to go see War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, and my mom didn't want me to go see that because I wasn't old enough, and I wanted to see Sky High. I was the only person who wanted to see Sky High, so my cousin took one for the team. Was like, I'll go to Sky High with this idiot, and we went, and we both loved it. He was cracking up the whole time. Sky High is about these teenagers whose parents are superheroes, and they have superpowers, and they go to Sky High to control their powers and figure out what they do for society.
It's a high school in the sky for superheroes.
Yes, the school bus flies, and on freshman orientation, they don't say Hufflepuff, Gryffindor. They say hero, sidekick. It's great. So I ask you, would you rather go to Sky High where all of these preteens are blowing things up because they don't know how to control their powers? Would you rather go to Hogwarts because there's one dumbass kid that everybody wants to kill, so they destroy your school and traumatize you every single semester?
Could you imagine?
Bro, like, just expel them. Like, just expel Harry, Hermione, and Ron because they're always getting into trouble. Going into parts of the school that they aren't allowed to go in, like, just expel them, and you have no more problems.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out front of this though and apologize to our resident BAP Harry Potter fan, Jill Young. I'm probably gonna offend her with this take. The way you describe Sky High, man, sounds great.
Check it out, dude.
Yeah, it's I will take that over Hogwarts. So sorry, Jill. Movies are great, but the school. Russ, you put it perfectly. I don't want to go home for winter break because, like, my classroom blew up. So it's
yeah, because a giant spider, which by the way just lives in the woods off to the side of the school, came and laid eggs of other giant spiders in your dorm or whatever.
Yeah, just get some Roundup or something, and that'll take care of that
clear
problem.
That out. Does Hagrid even do anything? He's supposed to be the groundskeeper. All the leaves are dead.
Whoa, okay. I will not stand for Hagrid trash talk.
Ryan, before you pick between Hogwarts and Sky High, let me say, for Sky High, they brought Bowling for Soup in to record a cover of I Melt With You, and it's the best version of I Melt With You I've ever heard in my life.
It really is.
I didn't know that's where that song came from, but now I think you've kind of sold me on it. I think you've pulling me off the Harry Potter thing. You've given me this new perspective that I've never had before about it. So I think, yeah, I got to go Sky High without knowing anything about it.
And that's what I was nervous to ask it, because obviously people know what Hogwarts is, but it's a smaller group of people who might know what Sky High is. Thank you for answering that. And I felt like I might have tried to sway you in a certain direction, but they both have their horrible, horrible cons, don't they?
In terms of... I mean, yeah, preteens blowing things up, definitely, things were getting blown up regardless at either school, but I prefer to not have everyone trying to kill that one person in the school and then some random person who you can't say the name of just keeps showing up and, making a mess of things.
They're basically magical Nazis and magical Hitler. That's basically that's the whole story. That's terrifying. I'd rather go to superhero high school than deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not like in the direct group of the protagonists who are like apparently taking on all these older advanced wizards. Like imagine like going to Hogwarts and it's like your third year and you've only been doing magic for 3 years and these guys are just like taking on a whole army. Like I didn't sign up for that. I'm just here to learn potions, man.
I mean, Hogwarts also reminds me, and I get this is going to sound like a weird take, but it reminds me of Ryan and I's high school from the aspect of if you go in there in September, it's going to be hot. Like, I doubt there's any air conditioning in that place. Like, the air is just probably poorly ventilated and stuffy. So, like, that's just the other take. It's just Sky High, I assume, has some advanced technology that could at least get some central air going.
It looks like any high school, except it's literally in the sky.
All right, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's just floating on a cloud.
What grade does Hogwarts start at?
I don't know. It's like, isn't it like 11 or 12?
No,
like
it looked like
young.
6th grade almost.
Oh, I
Is it
meant
middle
like
school or high
age. I
school?
meant age, like 11 or 12.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what grade.
Imagine you're 11 or 12, right? Remember when you went to college, you had to start buying all your textbooks and stuff? These kids got to go out, they got to buy their wand, they got to buy their freaking broomstick. Oh, all of a sudden you're 11. Yeah, you got to buy your animal. Oh, you're 11. You need to, on top of going to class and living on your own for some, you need to take care of this freaking owl. I don't think there's an instruction manual on how to take care of an owl. Sorry.
You're exposing a lot of plot holes with Harry Potter. I honestly respect it.
They're coming up in my brain right now because as a kid, I had all the DVDs of Harry Potter, but I wouldn't watch the movies. I watched behind the scenes because it was always more fun to watch. But I watched the movies as a kid, and I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with this. And then when I was in college, I rewatched all of them, and I was just like, just expel these kids, and there's no more problems. That was there was one solution, and nobody did it. And that's why my gripe was with Harry Potter.
See, but Dumbledore needed to use Harry to kill Voldemort, and he knew that, which is why he kept that kid around.
Whatever.
Dumbledore didn't really care about Harry.
No.
So I have an older sister who's like really, really into Harry Potter. So like I'm not really that into it, but like I just have to like engage in these discussions every once in a while. So I'm well versed.
Well, that went far deeper than I expected it to. I apologize. Eric, do you have a this or that, or should I do another one?
Yeah. All right. If obscure sports, handball or water polo, if you had to pick one.
Oh, this is easy. I think Ryan and I might agree here. I, for one, don't know how to swim, though, so I might be a little biased. We played handball in high school, and it was great. It was fantastic.
It's so much fun.
It was fantastic. Like, I would, if there's one sport I would go and play right now with like all of our friends, it would be handball. He's like, anyone could do it, and it gets really intense really fast.
Yeah, that was one of the gym sports in high school where like everybody tried hard, at least where me and Matt went. Like you just have people throwing it really hard at the poor goalie who didn't want to be there, so they just got out of it. It's a great sport. I love handball a lot.
I liked being the goalie.
I felt bad for him sometimes. It's tough.
Handball, handball anyone can play. Not anyone could play water polo. Have you guys ever seen a water polo match?
It looks exhausting just to watch.
Yeah.
Like, let alone that's like an athlete.
Athletes. Yeah. They are absolute athletes. Matt, you said you don't swim. Ryan, do you swim at all? You
do.
Get in a pool.
I can. Yeah.
Just kind of floating in the water. After 2 minutes, I get freaking winded. They have to do it, but also kick their legs high enough so their waist is above the water, so they can
and
hit
also play like a contact sport with other people who are like bumping them and dunking them and elbowing and kneeing and kicking.
It's absolutely insane. They're total athletes. Which would I rather play? Handball. Which would I rather watch? Professionals do? That's also a good question. But maybe water polo.
You ever seen like Olympic handball? It is intense. It is crazy.
I haven't.
I'll send you some videos after this, Russ. It's pretty awesome.
It's one of my underrated Olympic sports. Like, Summer Olympics handball, Winter Olympics is probably like curling, like very underrated sports to watch. But yeah, the velocity on the shots in Olympic handball is crazy. Like considering
is it like ultimate frisbee but with a ball?
No, it's like a mix of basketball and hockey almost.
Gotcha.
Like basketball and soccer, kind of like it's played on a basketball court, but it's like you dribble and you pass and you just like throw a ball at a net with a goalie.
Gotcha.
It's fun.
My partner lives in Manalapan. We went to a park. I don't remember if it was in Manalapan or on the outskirts. We went to a park. It was like a normal park, right? It's a park, and we're sitting on a bench, and then I start noticing like all these little poles in the ground. The park was also a disc golf course. I've never heard of disc golf in my life. This park was teeming with disc golfers. So we're sitting on this bench, and of course, like right where the bench is, there's a platform for people to throw. So all these like crazy old people with their backpacks full of discs start waddling over, and they're just. What's your take on disc golf, fellas?
I never quite got the fascination with it. Ultimate frisbee I can get because that's exciting to me, but the disc, just trying to throw it and hit like the chains and watch it, like I never really got that.
Yeah, I was almost struck by a ultimate frisbee or at a ultimate frisbee thrower at one of the parks near Monmouth. There's a couple near Monmouth that have, it must be a popular hobby or sport, or whatever we call it, up in the Monmouth County area, because I saw a lot more there. And Ryan, you might be able to support this claim than where we live down in like South Jersey. I mean, they're a lot more scarce down here.
I don't think I've ever seen one down here.
Yeah, but it's like almost every other park in Monmouth County I've seen them.
That's crazy. I mean, you do you. You guys, as avid sports fans, you seem to dabble in a wide variety of sports. If there's a slow day and you turn on the Ocho, what do you think is your favorite obscure kind of niche sport?
I'm a big cornhole guy. I love the cornhole tournaments they put on at like 7 o'clock in the morning. They just really get into it. That'd probably be mine.
I'm a big bowling guy. Shout out to our BAP bowler, Joe Colonna. Huge bowler. That's probably going to be mine, because that could get really intense really quickly, as we've seen with some viral videos coming out of bowling.
Pete Weber.
Yeah.
Wait, was that the guy?
Who do you think you are? I am.
Was it you, Eric, who told me they did that in our town?
Yeah, that was at the North Brunswick zone.
That's
wow,
crazy.
no way.
Yeah, super cool. They've since made some really hefty renovations over there.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's a different place now. It's still a bowling alley, but it's not Brunswick zone anymore.
Dude, when that place was around and people would ask me what my favorite place to go for a slice of pizza was, I would say Brunswick zone, hands down. Such good pizza.
I think bowling alley pizza hits differently. Like, it's its own kind of subset. Like, I know Ryan used to be a big pizza connoisseur when he came to Monmouth, but I feel like I don't want to group it as just bowling alley pizza, but like places that you go with like your friends when you're a kid. Like, Ryan, you might be able to help me out here. Like mini golf pizza, like pizza when you're going out with your friends just hits differently when like you're a kid compared to like now.
Laser tag pizza.
Yeah, laser tag pizza. Literally anything under that umbrella, I feel like just hits differently.
I'm going to ask one more this or that, and we'll let you guys go. And I've asked this one before, but I always like to ask true sports fans, of which we don't get too many on this music-centric podcast. I'm just going to say it, and you got to answer it, all right?
Okay.
Football or football?
Oh, so I can't ask for context. It's just...
I'm curious as to what your gut reaction is.
So I'm going to upset a lot of people at my current job, but it's football. I'm going to upset a lot of people.
I agree. Yes.
In what context are you guys answering the question?
For like the NFL, football. Like, that's because I associate football as soccer. But again, it's just depends on what you. At least the way I see it, the way like people grow up. Like if you grow up in like a soccer household, you might kind of sway the other way. But yeah, football.
Is that you agree, Ryan?
100%. Yeah, that's exactly what my answer would have been.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we asked this, Eric, when Jake was on, and I brought up the point of, is it the Spanish term, football? Is it Spanish, or am I making that up?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm not sure exactly whether it's Spain, Mexico, Portugal. I'm not quite sure, but I looked up the Spanish word for foot, and it certainly is not foot.
Mm-hmm,
Heck,
true.
ball isn't even bowl. So who knows where that even came from? Who knows? I'll throw that out there. And
yeah, because I think even in America, some people will take football but just convert it to football, and I think that's where your question kind of came from. Because I work for a soccer team right now, and people call it football, but like football is football, like to us, right? And that like is the NFL, and then we have soccer as the other. So I think kind of it originated as football, but then it kind of came down to football, and I think that's where your question came from, and the confusion that we now have in this country.
I get, if I'm thinking about it now, football is probably more of a slang, but even then, we call it football. Like that's not even a slang. That's what it is. Very interesting. Guys, I don't want to keep you on for the entire night. We're so grateful for you taking the time to speak with us, and again, grateful for all the work that you're doing for us on the front lines of BAP.
BAP.
The BAP family. I don't know what else to say. Any closing remarks from you, fine gentlemen?
I did have a question. I forget if it was you or for somebody else. Were you the Origami Angel fan that I talked to at some point? Are you an Origami Angel fan?
This is gonna. Eric is.
I am.
Okay. Did you listen to the new album yet?
Is it Somewhere City, or did they make a newer one?
They actually just released one. Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't heard that one yet.
I haven't heard it yet either.
It's very good. So I don't want to sway anyone's opinions, but I think it's very good.
That's what I keep hearing. I only hear great things about Origami Angel. I was nervous to answer because I have yet to really dive into the discog of Origami Angel, and they're huge in the scene right now. Mm-hmm. So I look forward to doing it because I've only heard really great things.
Yeah, it's 20 songs. I think it's like 50 minutes, but it's a great experience listening to that all the way through.
Nice.
Any hot takes on Origami Angel there, Matt?
So I am not familiar. And one thing I will say, this ties me right into my final point, is that I love what you guys do, and I love the music, this music festival and everything going on, because I've told Ryan this before too. Like, me and him kind of have like starkly different music interests, but one thing I love about your podcast and one thing I loved about WMCX and the whole Asbury Park kind of vibes is that I kind of am exposed to so many new things. So that's one thing that I really appreciate that you guys do. And then Ryan will show me stuff too. Like when I went to Monmouth and met you guys, I learned a whole new kind of genre. So that was kind of my final point there, that I learn a lot of new things in a lot of new kind of styles and stuff. So big fan of that. So I will have to check it out, to Ryan's original question.
Cool. Yeah. No, thanks for what you said about us. And I didn't even realize until I took a step back of like the whole basement show thing. Like that's a whole different world that so many people don't even realize exists. Like I remember my boss was like many months ago, no, a year ago at this point, he was like, "What did you do last weekend, Russ?" And I was trying to explain him that I played a basement show and why someone would invite me into their basement and a bunch of strangers would come. But that's kind of the same with a lot of different things. Like we've got some best available player people getting onto Twitch. Like that's a whole world that I personally am not familiar with, but it's like a whole different ecosystem of people and interests. So yeah, there's so many incredible things out there that you don't even realize exist just yet until you see it. So, but yeah, thanks for having us. And you mentioned the music festival would have already happened once we released this episode, but that's another example of we have an idea and you guys just let us, take it all the way and make it happen. So thank you for all your help in helping us orchestrate that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Well,
can I just say before we go that you guys both have excellent podcast and radio voices.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I like we started with like a lot of compliments coming our way, and that's how we ended. So this has really been a great experience for us.
Thank you guys. Yeah. Me, in regards to the podcast voice, not so much.
Yeah, no, me and Russ got work to do, but you guys got it figured out. Welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that wonderful interview.
What do you think, Eric? Do we live to see another week, or are we done for?
I think we survived. I think we last another week here.
I think so too. We buttered them up pretty good. They had the smiles on their faces. For those who are
lots of ass kissing there.
Oh yeah.
Lots of smooching.
Oh yeah, they liked it. So I think we might live to see another week. Thank you again so much to Matt and Ryan, not just for joining us on the podcast, but for everything that they do. Really, go check out bestavailableplayer.com to see for yourself. And what else is there to say, Eric?
Only one more week until I get my second vax.
Ooh, exciting, man.
That's what's to say.
Kudos to you for being part of the solution.
Thank you. I'm only upset it took this long.
Hey, it's been tricky to find out how to do it and where to get it. But I'm glad you figured it out. I figured it out. I'm fully vaxxed, and I'm thankful for it. I can go give my grandmother a hug and kiss. And, yeah.
Hopefully, I can give Russell's grandmother a hug and kiss, too.
She's been waiting for it. That's like what she's like. I was like, Grandma, it's so good to see you. She's like, yeah. Where's Eric? I'm like, oh.
Hopefully, we can start doing some in-person interviews again soon.
Yeah, that would be so cool. That was the intent from when we first started this, was to hang out and like talk to people in the flesh.
Yeah.
So we'll see if
we missed the flesh.
If they keep us running, maybe we could get to that in-person stuff, and it'll be so cool. So we'll see, and we'll see you next week in another installment of Soundtown. So please come back soon, and thank you for listening.